It is some disaster for any mind to hold any one thing for truth that is untrue, however insignificant it be, or however honestly it be held. It is a greater disaster when the false prejudice bars the way to some truth behind it, which, but for it, would find an entrance to the soul. And the greatness of the disaster will in this case be measured by the importance of the excluded truth. And this week's opening quote comes from Henry Liddon. One really must be careful when proclaiming the truth on any matter, folks, and one must be very careful of what they choose to believe along the way. As I've often said, belief is the enemy of knowledge, and when you choose to believe something, then you often block your mind off to other possibilities because they may conflict with your belief system. This is why it's so dangerous to lock yourself into any type of belief and realize that it's about the journey, it's about the path, and it's about the knowledge that is expanding and unfolding along the way. But there's always something new around the corner. Very often we think we've found all the answers, but then something else comes along. And if we've locked ourselves into a belief that we already know the truth, then we close ourselves off to whatever there is to come next. And we've got to be careful on how we focus on different aspects of the truth and different aspects of what we believe may be true. Look up words such as individual. A lot of people think this means to be someone who is unique, but really it comes from the word indivisible, which means you are simply one peg in the massive porridge of human population, and you are indivisible to anybody else. Therefore, you are not unique at all. You are indivisible from the masses. That's what the word individual means. If you look up the word nice, that's a good one. They're always telling us to be nice. If you look up the origins of the word nice, it comes from the Latin nescius, which means to be ignorant. Later in Middle French, it was stupid and uninformed. So basically to be nice is to be ignorant, stupid and uninformed, and just be quiet and don't rock the boat and just be nice. Well, folks, I don't think we should be nice, and I think we really should begin to really comprehend the language. Etymology is a very interesting subject, and something that I do recommend people investigate. The ones who control the people within the system are the other people, the ones who believe the orders are real. You've got some guy sitting in an office somewhere who believes he can control other people because someone wrote it down on paper that he can do it. And they do it, and they believe in it, and they think that this is all right and real, and they're doing the right thing. And they get all hoity-toity about it. If someone tries to step outside their rules and they've got a chance to squash someone else's life, they actually enjoy doing it because it makes them feel better about themselves. And this is what happens when you take everybody's rights away and you squash human consciousness into a box. Then you start giving little bits of authority to certain people within there, and they will start harvesting as much energy as they can from other people because that alleviates the pain that they're feeling, and that gives them access to other people's energy. They get to step on people and make themselves feel a little bit better about it. Unfortunately, this is the way human nature goes when you put people in a state of scarcity and competition, which is exactly what this monetary and social system is designed to do. If we live in a state of cooperation, none of this would be happening. But it's because we're forced to live in a state of scarcity and competition that we constantly are at each other's throats and trying to climb to the top of the pile. And that's really all a lot of people do with their lives, folks, is they try to climb to the top of the pile or get at least some large pile that they can sit on top of and proclaim themselves king of their pile. But when they get to near the end of their lives, they start looking back and thinking, what was it all for? Now I've got all this stuff that I don't need. What does it mean? I spent my life in the accumulation of stuff, which I can't take with me. So what was it all for? What was the point of it? Gaining social standing or social status, or presenting myself as being more worthwhile than other people because I have more stuff than them. But what about me? What about who I am? What about my artistic contribution to this creation? What about the legacy I leave behind? What breadcrumbs did I leave for myself? How did I improve reality by my presence in it? How did I really live my life and express myself? What knowledge did I gain? What friends did I make? Who did I help along the way? That's really what it's about, folks. It's not about accumulating stuff, but we're caught in this washing machine when we're young. We go through the education system, we come out of school, we believe we have to get an education, we have to do this, we have to do that. We've got to get all these certificates, we've got to get letters after our name, and oh my God, anything we do in school, any bad thing is going to be a black mark against our name, which is going to prevent us from ever achieving anything in the workforce. And we believe we have to be part of the workforce. We can't ever just express ourselves and live our lives because we, of course, have to pay to be alive. So we've got to do all this stuff that the system tells us we should do. Then we get to the end of it and we think, what was it all for? It was just a big control system. It was just running between the lines that other people wrote down and thinking that this is what our life had to be. Thinking that if we collect more stuff, then we're going to be somehow in a better position than other people. But it doesn't work that way. That's not what life is about at all. And you get to a time where you realise that it's all been put there to keep us distracted. It's like watching movies, we're watching the movie of our life. We're living the movie of our life, but we're living it according to someone else's parameters. It's like a game. We think we have to make our way through the maze and come out of the maze with a big pile of goodies at the end of it. But it's not like that. It's all a distraction. It's all a distraction from ourselves, and it's a distraction from ever really looking around to notice just how we are controlled. It's a complicated system, sure. When you look at it legally, you look at it socially, it's a complicated system, but ultimately when you get down to the nitty-gritty of the whole thing, how we are controlled more than anything is through our own lack of belief in our own personal power, our willingness to follow orders, our willingness to follow the dictates of other people. We're kept occupied, we're kept distracted. Look at how a farm is run, folks. Look at how, if you've got a mouse in a cage, you give it little wheels to run on, you give it little toys to play with in order to keep it happy, so it's comfortable in its captivity. And that's kind of what they've done with us. They've given us little things to play with, little toys and trinkets that we can buy, which will keep us occupied, keep us happy. And they've given us somewhere to live, a roof over our head, but they've made sure that we have to work very, very hard to maintain that little piece of shelter for ourselves so that we can actually survive in the world. We have to work very, very hard to do that. No other species on this earth has to work so hard just to ensure that it has a place to be. Most creatures just live where they're born. Most tribes just live where they're born. If you look back at the Vedic culture that used to exist many, many years ago, that we're told existed, this was a system where everybody was provided for in as much as they were given the means to provide for themselves. If you were given a block of land and you were able to set that land up as a food forest in your school years, then you'd be free to live your life any way you wanted. And there'd be no reason for you to go and invade anybody else's country or steal anybody else's land because you had all the stuff you need there. We would have a cooperative society, but everything about this society is designed to make sure we cannot cooperate with each other. It's not profitable for us to cooperate with each other. So we're constantly distracted and we're never really given the time to look around and see what's really going on. But what's really going on, folks, is that this is a farm. It's a people farm. You're being harvested in many, many ways. You're being energetically harvested. Your whole life is being harvested. How many people live their life doing exactly what they want to do? They may believe they're doing what they want to do, but really they're not. They're doing what they've been trained to do. They've found a way through the system where they're able to accumulate wealth so then they can go out to the designated fun areas and enjoy the world. But everywhere you go now, it's the same as everywhere else. The thing is, folks, is that it's a people farm. That's really what's going on here. And the harvesting that is going on behind the scenes is really what's most important. But it's people's failure to look there, people's refusal to look there, people's refusal to face the shadow that allows this harvest to continue. And it's the distracted state that they're kept in. And the way they always just choose the designated fun areas. No one wants to step outside of the safe zone. And the reason they choose the designated fun areas is because they need paper. They need to pay to go everywhere they want to go. They need paper to do anything they want to do. And so they go to places where they will be able to spend their money in enjoyable ways. They don't ever really look at this whole thing from a human perspective and look behind the scenes to see what's really going on. This constant state of distraction has been a real problem. The problem is that people are so easily led, and people so want their ideas to be right. They want to see an opening. They want to see light at the end of the tunnel. They want to latch on to anything they believe may bring them to safety. And there's a propensity to really jump in there head first and not really examine things properly. And we really do need to examine things properly.